Hello everyone, I hope everyone's been doing really well. My name's Eva. I want to welcome you to this healing meditation video and thank you so much for joining me. I just want to start off by saying that the energy collectively, for me personally, has been insanely off the charts. This past week has been so heavily dense with purging, karmic cycle closing, lots of contracts ending and clearing, archetypal stories, just closing the book on them, and that takes a lot of energetic investment. And if we are clinging in any way to that density, it's incredibly difficult, and that's so hard not to do. So if you've been going through that, just know that you're not alone. I am right there with you. Last week was I was taking, I don't know if you guys ever experience meditation in this way, but sometimes it's like you are not awake, but you're not sleeping, and you kind of get glimpses. It's not like going on a whole sort of psychedelic journey, but you'll get glimpses of visions and understanding of things, but you're mostly kind of conked out. A lot of work happening in that space, a lot of sort of astral clearing, lower dimensions, but higher than, I suppose you could say, the one that we're in. So much going on those planes, so much reconstruction that we are seeing filtering down to us. And the energy that has been coming up for me to work with most strongly is this solar fire, this solar consciousness, this solar dragon, which I think, from what I have seen in the spiritual community, seems to be very misunderstood. I can only speak from what I experience of them, but they are timeless, large consciousness bodies that we kind of descend from. And so in that way, they are kind of our spiritual parents and also part of our creation. So I just want to say, if you're feeling really bogged down or you need assistance, this is an incredibly powerful time to really open up the field and look at what you're holding on to by the way of fearful belief, negative identifications and false personality. And if you need any assistance with that, sessions are available on my website. This is such a powerful time to do some of this work and to really, really let go, because if we don't consciously make that effort, it's going to get dragged out of us, and it's going to be really, really difficult. We are seeing so much changing in the collective, and that's not going to stop. That's not going to stop anytime soon. So this can be more easeful. It's not always going to be easy, but we can make it easier on ourselves. And asking for help, I know I have always had such a hard time with that, but we are, as I always say, we heal as one, right? We heal as one or not at all. So sometimes you just have to take that little step to ask for assistance, and then we are met with the entire unity field and all of the beings that are there with us. So I just wanted to throw that out there. There's also my Patreon community, which is only like $11 a month, and this week we're doing a lot of dismantling of financial structures in the collective and lots of limiting belief in ourselves that is keeping sort of siphoning happening. You might feel like, oh my goodness, I work so hard and everything just goes and goes and goes and nothing comes back to me. That's really rooted in limiting belief that we have about what we are and also what money is. So we're exploring a lot of that on Patreon this week, and I'm always posting at least once a week on there, and really hoping to grow it as a more sort of safe space, a community to really just be honest and talk about, what you're experiencing in the field, because I know a lot of people are kind of opening up now to different possibilities, different beings, different ways of being, different methods of understanding, and that can all be very confusing. So that is a resource that's available to you as well. But in this healing meditation, we want to focus on really just bringing more ease into this specific period. I'm not an expert in astrology by any means. I think it's a very loose map. It's a story, just like any other narrative story that we sort of weave ourselves with. Remembering these stories don't have power without us giving our life force to them, but they are means by which we can help understand ourselves. The meaning is never in the story. The meaning is in the wisdom that fuels the story, and that really can't be taught. That is by direct experience, which is the goal of all of these healing meditations, to offer a space for you to open up to that direct experience. But I know that there's lots going on, so if you are a follower of astrology, understand that that is like a collective story playing out, and those are energies that if it's helpful to you, are powerful tools of story to use to understand how things are really coming up to the surface now. But what we want to do, and now what's really coming up as part of this meditation, is this idea of inner union of the energies within us as we are working on this process of ascension. And I talk about this a lot. It is this inner, electromagnetic exchange that births this kind of third plasmic thing, right? This intelligent light substance consciousness that is imbuing all of our multidimensional layers at this time. And so much a part of that process is to come into this inner union of ourselves. So this is our feminine and masculine energy, but it's also really showing us how much we identify with shadow aspects, and knowing that those are just stories, and bringing in these alchemizing fire energies. It's this substance. It's a substance of fire that is really powerfully burning away a lot of illusion. And yes, we can anchor that. It's coming from within us. It's coming from our hearts. There is a sun center. We talk about the Son of God a lot, right? That's a Christian narrative that is pervasive in certainly Western culture, which is, been adopted and distorted by the oppressor. Probably one of the biggest lies told over any story. So that takes a lot of dismantling and understanding what that really means. And so we're really getting into the power that we hold and the identification with ourselves as the sun, as the one sun, right? As the one life that we all share. And we have to integrate polarity aspects to unify. And that's coming up really, really strongly. So working with this, oh gosh, it just looks like this dancing fire that you can use. You can wield this fire to burn away all that is not you, all of the lies that you believe about yourself. And this, for the sake of this meditation, will be very different in the story of your life for everyone watching. So we're not going to focus too much on details, but rather to offer a space, a safe space, a loving space, a happy space, a joyful space for you to take a look at what it is that you are believing, what stories you are giving your life force to. And if it's a demonic story, if it's a story of subjugation, of manipulation and control, of siphoning, then we're going to cut that off right at the source. We're going to burn that right away. For the sake of our self, our one self, which is to say for the sake of all living beings. But your happiness is so important. And we're burning away that notion of self-sacrifice, because that's not helpful, and that's not how you free yourself. So taking nice deep breaths in and out of the heart space, opening yourself up to the field, knowing you are very, very safe. You carry the energy of your protection when you remember what you are. And so we are working with the energies, with the consciousness of the solar dragon collective body. With the Christ field, the unity field of Christ consciousness. Mother God, Father God, this Christ Sophia field. God in any aspect. Whatever aspect is comfy for you, who you like to work with. Korwikayatarayotor, kuyu shundu asnait, sando shinikani sanindarato korwihikiataiki, yandosnia shayo sokorkayat, snayun tunduat shanaya nakuntarehiki, yandasaya satuko arahiki yayut, untaishiki sayakunta kayanayon, unundu korwishi anasana shanatia tatiasa, Shanasanandikaya soti shinisiti, yandu korkiki ayatu koaishi ayat, nas na shani sanayo sotayayo shiayasai, sayu rihaya kanandayo suntai shisaya sanarat, yanayando ayashno sunnoashna saratraisi ayat. Kikiaeon duari tosuna sharaisi atorkihi ayotorko arat nandarei tasaya shiarai siki yando korkiaya tua tantata sharayotorki tiat sinishana sanaintai yanandor kaisiti kihayat arayata shana sarataya torko indaratasna shanandara korkoyat inandorihiti andayo shotiat inindatoata ratot. It's an anchoring in the self, in yourself as one with creator, creation, and you having the power to, when you align with that power, remembering who you are such that there are going to be, and as there ever have been on earth, distracting energies. We give life to demonic force by paying attention to it, by believing that it is aspects of what we are. We say all the time, as you know, the Buddha said, negative states are not inherent to our being. It is essential that we see that, or else all of the work we do would be impossible. Yes. But especially at this time, you know, there are lots of entities in the field that would have you continue to believe fearful things about yourself, that would have you keep paying attention to them because they want to keep on playing out narrative story such that they could exist in whatever way that they believe that they do. Kinando korwito sono shinikantis nayor kayat. Ai soyo porwi ki hayoshono sinin tasna shanasayat. Kina taraya warwihi sonondai baeshi. Sinin dehi kianan dorwi bishiki hisi. Satu ashaya sanata takarato. Taisiki nantasanando araitosh. Siana shinindorko aitoshiki sinindrihit. To see how you choose to slow down and see how everything you allow to occupy your consciousness is a choice that you make for fear, which is the energy of the oppressor, the structure of the oppressor, or of love, which is freedom. Sanayuntuatis no shini kinta korkihi ninta tashni nasanantahasiatash. Yantas notor vihiayushini kintayo son tu por vihiarayo corruin tu corcayas nish. Sintas natas, sinantayiki, yantara corkiti si katakoriki ayoko, unanta karakita satashiki esnantuasnat, to free these aspects of your soul, of your spirit that you've given to these structures. It's in the solar, it's in in the digestive system majorly. Orwihi sinishnanta kananta kienisuntu kuaishuno santash nuso to shibisa tasi soto sontata shinikintasot tata karayoto ris nantu rioto kuarayishiti siriata shnyat. And as we reach back into the truth of what we are, all of these incredible aspects, all, you know, as we do these retrieving aspects of power that we've given away, all of these beautiful gifts, all of these beautiful interests, skills, joys, you know, play comes forward that we didn't know that we had because it was covered up and given away to lies. And we're uncovering this now. And it's not about what you, it's obviously the physical is an important component because it is the world that we are living in. But it's not about seeking for without, in what ways can I contribute by way of production. Oh, if I go draw a picture, I'm going to be happier because I've occupied my time in the physical world in some way that is meaningful. It's at this time about getting in touch with your heart space and allowing it to yourself to understand that those things are created from energetic structures of joy. Sanindayo korai kiti kiantaharat. Yasnushni snantaisni shinintu porriti. Yirkiara rayan. Nandratis nando korrihi. Shono sinindu yushoko aisni antisnatat. Kinandaya konando sonondoari. Puyoshi kiaisiki siki. Sianti shisiriti titiondo sanash. Sanandayo shiki sikiandayo raya sosia shinis nantasi sonti bidikari keitior kinit. This is a time of separating from finding meaning in the physical that is separate from what is coming from your own consciousness. Sinishonos, it's not to say that art is not a beautiful, oh my gosh, expression. It is how we make sense of these collective archetypal deity realms and how we offer that imprint into the physical. It's incredibly powerful. It is probably the most, when it's, when it is that and not mass mind control and more siphoning. And I think, when you're even tapped into your heart in the slightest, you can really tell the difference between those two things. It is the most powerful way that we have of translation by way of symbols. But understanding that we have made that a product and we've put it. My friend Elisa Lee was talking about something yesterday, and I want to give her credit because she's amazing and such a powerful teacher and just such a powerful priestess. And she's on YouTube and you need to check her out. And this is a message that has come up and we've probably talked about it before too, that it's not about the messenger, right? And so we deify these celebrities and these artists, that they have some gift that everyone else doesn't have. They are a muse. They are translating from these collective realms. It's not about the person, it's about the energy and the message coming forward. So what we've done in this society by way of deifying these people is to separate the wisdom from the collective nature of it. And this is just an example, but it's a really big structure that the sort of false phantom matrix is built on, and we give so much power to this, and there's so much like fantasy structure, and you have to understand how that pulls on those people too. It's not anyone, fault is not the right way to go about it. You should not feel guilty about it. It's important to understand what the oppressor does is that they create both sides of a negative structure. They create sometimes I think about it as they create a mutation or a disease, and then they vilify it and then pit both sides against each other for not having it or for having it. They create war, but the energetics of both sides of the war are both the oppressor. So no matter what side you choose, there are no sides. There's the oppressor. And remember that love has no opposite. So it's illusion and it's truth. But from within the illusion, they try to get you to believe that there's a good and a bad side. But they are the power they don't have real power. It's your power that's giving it to it. But it is the energetics of the oppressor that's on both sides of those things. There is no holy war. There's no righteous genocide. Yaya sumanta taisna tatarato aishnikintaisi shumayishnonto kayandari yantos nashinikintasnikiniandik. And they're showing me now like kings, right? There are no people on earth that are more powerful than any others or inherently chosen over anyone else. And we give our power away to this structure and this belief. It's really important now that we see how we have done that. It's not about being in guilt over it. It's about seeing how our participation with these stories creates the structure of the oppressor, because it is falling apart and there is nothing to be done for its falling. It is going. How much of yourself do you want to allow to continue to suffer by clinging on to it, by not understanding how it's created? Because it's important to understand that there's no punishment. There's no consequence by means of damnation for having participated. The only consequence for not seeing is to continue to keep yourself separate. You keep yourself suffering in that structure when you refuse to see it. Shinisanankiatikar kihonanto sonontohari kiana rayot orrisono shinikintrati kihishono sontoas nishorotoatiki. The representatives of the field, the representatives of God or source or whatever you want to call it, the beings that are, certainly God itself has no judgment other than to see you as you are created at one with it. But the beings of the field, any sort of personal consciousness that you might identify, is never going to condemn you, is never going to judge you. It wants you home. It wants you home. It wants you to see that as soon as you can see that you're free, that you have created it, that you're free from it. So then you can go and create in love's symbols here. They would not keep you from that creation. They want you to see how powerful your choice is and how you are making a choice in every moment. They want you to see that you are loved no matter what. That you are loved not because of anything, but because you are love. It's just, love just extends. Love is just more of what it is. And it just continues to be more. They want you to see that you are love experiencing. Let go of your judgment of self. Let go of your self-righteousness and this false humility that comes along with all of these false narratives of what it means to be spiritual. Throw it out the window. Just like punt it. That it is a cage. It's not power. And there's no reward for it. It's the work, you're doing the work of the oppressor for it. Siantasia shoyusuntaisi kia shokorui haitati, yindarati sikia yetondara karatu, orayisnatat, araya kort, araya harayat, araya sonaharat, araya sarahiat, araya toriat, asayak anantuat, inindiari kinishini kindasniatis, shiksianias nontokoyanti kiniandatik, inainionu, onoani, inioni antais naya shuar kia isat shonumbayas natias anantiatish sato shonosora ishit. Really what they're showing me now is quite graphic, by the way, of like this false umbilicus kind of cord or this inserted tube. It siphons your force and it feeds you back excrement, and it lies to you about what that juice is that it's giving back to you. It's poison. Shini sokar kaisni shinin do reisnit. Snatiat adi karayo torayas nasatash. Sontas nashitias orhikiatati. Yana shono sonontoat. Sundu harihiki hiatoruk. Untasni, shuntasnasa, shana sareito, kontasni nishin dosni shiritiari, korayo torim. Kia kumbas no shuno sunti paya kia kumbayashia sia tai shi siritia kara kiantako. Sono shini sanandrat. And it's really important that you're not vilifying certain people or entities. It's about the energy, and it's not to be vilified. It's to see what it is by the way of story structure, by the way of roles in a play. Mayanta sokai shini kantasnat, shayo soshi, soti karaka rato korrihininto ruindarat, sini to raya shikisikiaiti antasini shokoratok. But it doesn't mean that you can't be ruthless with your negative thoughts. It doesn't mean that you can't say, you can't hold power. We misunderstand that as well. Shini sonti pishikia isni kinta konontoko ya pieto korrito yo tormi nishno sorhit sananto siti shikianas shinititia raisotish, because these entities do not respond to love. They hate it. They hate you. Tieta korrihi shini sanandrais nasro isinin yupietork. So then you have to align with God's justice. Mashikia sakiatosh, and it's not vengeance. Justice and vengeance are not the same. Sianonto esni shinindis, and that's the dragon consciousness is really coming very strongly forward about God's justice. Kayashokuyasnit, and that comes with, I'm sure that inspires all sorts of religious imagery, and that is most certainly not what I'm talking about. Harayatasna shanantoruk. But you have to go within yourself for that to be meaningful to you. There's only so much I can explain about that. It becomes an understanding, you must be shown. Sananto korrihiki kian taiko no sononto korrikia yeshonti asnato orrikiait orrikiananto orraya raiki korgia yetoko hi yoshuno snasnatai yato atashana sarai sitor pisho contesnati intata sononto koashea saratisi. There's a lot dissolving by the way of also like false perceptions and of identities, again, of what it means to be spiritual, of what it means to be a healer, of what it means to be love, right? It's not like this fawning flower, you know? It's not for people, it's not to like not have any boundaries and just like blow kisses everywhere and like say everything's okay. You can absolutely forgive and still stand in your power and not put up with bullshit. And you can still slay demons and dissolve structures and be powerfully loving. Because to listen to that narrative of it all being, I'm just going to walk around like, you know, some untouchable light being, that's just like, we don't have sufficient words for this, because it is blessing. It's still blessing. When you bring God's light, you are blessing. I hope you're following what I'm saying, because I don't think I'm articulating it very well. But it is I guess we hear all this is not just sunshine and rainbows, right? It's not just to be like overly nice and accommodating, which is compromising and collapsing yourself. You're not a doormat. Spiritual people are not doormats. And to follow that really, I must be like dancing around on the sun and like I'm on the beach and like everybody's welcome and like everything you say is okay and blah 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 blah, like that's a lie. That's serving the oppressor, because it wants to keep you weak. Shanasai siki haya kononto kwarkihi kiananta nanta karaitot. Oriano shanasara kiatasikit. Nanta sana shoyo sotasoyo shapietra karkayos no shumundo ayetiki ayak. Nantas na shayisikia yisosh. Sunduas na shoa rais ni shiningayak. Nandroaraya, that you have to be like apologetic. Kiaya soyo sonon to piataka. Yanando koruk. You don't have to be nasty. You don't have to be unloving. You don't have to be unkind. You don't have to be brutal. You don't have to be cruel. All of those things are energetics of fear, right? Is not what I'm suggesting. But to own your own power and to not put up with demonic bullshit is that service. And it is for yourself. And again, this notion of self-sacrifice, that you have to be like really, really accommodating to everyone because that's what it means to be in service when you know that this person who's approaching you has the intention to siphon your life force, and then you just give it to them for the sake of being accommodating because that's what you were taught it means to be loving, to be spiritual, to be in the light. That's allowing a negative structure, a story of the oppressor to continue to sustain. Not everyone's going to like you, and they don't have to, and you don't have to like everyone, and you get to choose who you be around, and you get to choose who you work with, and it doesn't reflect anything on you if there's someone that your intuition is really strongly telling you not to work with. You could still send them love, and you can free them from an energy of the oppressor by freeing yourself from it. Listen to that intuition. Listen to the recognition that you're having, that you're encountering a negative structure. It's not about saving anyone. To save the world and to like throw yourself at the feet of the masses is not what we were meant to be doing. Yandash no so kayas no shimintayas ni shiriti kikiayut, orayas na shanatat, kayasurihianasit, arayato rundatash na sontoat, sanash na sirikia riko rurinash no sondatiki, yando rihikit. And I'm speaking specifically now to women because the priestess wound is something that is coming up very strongly right now. That has a lot to do with dismantling that dark feminine, right? That witch wound. I don't identify with that nomenclature of being a witch, but certainly that she must have made a deal with the devil for these skills, for these powers, right? Or there's something dark going on there. Certainly other people who participate in black magic, yes, everyone is responsible for that structure because everyone has participated in it, if you're here on earth in some way. But the story of that feminine power being of the darkness is a massive perversion and distortion that keeps every single person on earth disempowered, no matter what body you're in or what you identify as. Shia sanientaka rayo corrintos no shinis nindrika ya torrio shukorato korkihit nantasana shana sarayiti arayo corrindas nato korruiata shinikintas na saratuk yuntos nashi sanantaya sushiat yendaratush. Martyr, being a martyr, letting that go. Mantrais nishi, ratuk, or a savior. Nanandratish nikinis. We say this all the time. We save the world by purifying our own consciousness for the sake of our own happiness, our own peace, our own joy, because it is only there that you can understand that you share one life. And that by freeing yourself, you free all others through yourself. It has to be done for you, and understand that it is a lie of the oppressor that is selfish. And I say this all the time, at the largest levels, out of dimensional space-time, none of this is real, none of this is happening, none of this is relevant. But We are here experiencing it, and in these lower dimensional levels, there is so much dirty, yucked up nonsense, perversion, distortion that needs to be revealed and cleared. And it's insidious, and it will turn you against yourself. It will try to work through people you know, people you don't know, people in other cars, your job. It'll try to do anything it can. Yanandruatis, if it senses that you're freeing yourself from it. It's like the Matrix when they send the sentinels after them. It lies. The devil is a liar, right? The satanic energy is just I call it reversal, right? It's a total distortion, reversed lie. And it's in every single thing you can imagine. And I don't always speak like this because I think it's the most important to provide access to that direct experience that I am capable of doing. But now is a really important time for everyone to recognize the layers and the levels that exist, because we need to dismantle it. These demons do need to be slain, dissolved, burned into the sacred fire that we are working with at this time. And you absolutely do have the power to do this by doing it through the beliefs that you hold. Oriso yutorhia nashni siritiki, yan turuhia yashana saratikayat, nantahis atriki, yan toryesh, santayo koraya korkihitiki, yashokosaya shosia shinisa nanto, yandaraisi, yanduaya shonosatikiat, o wushukoyas nanda yutuarahi, inandasayoshiatasna, yatauro, yantairi, itoshiki, yesana shona manandratiki, yato korayato. Tepuashana sinin doshiritikia, intasna sonania shanana antasa, so shiritisna tatakais. Yanandrayo torini shinitasna saratashini, santor kita tratis na shat, snasnandrako riko ratosh, sonoshana sanantia siti shikiayas. Assistance in setting boundaries and showing you where you need to put some boundaries. Shinisnandrakitis. This isn't, they are not walls of separation. It is self-love. It is self-care. It is the cleaning up of the world. It is the undoing. It is the revelation. They are necessary while negative structures still exist. Shisanandro korkor ki tandratis nishinin dasni antato, unandasna toshini snandra korayat, inindasna shiki snintiki, yando raya shuki patrikiniat, arayat orayat arrihies nush, snandraki ananto katayasi. Kieto korrato soto shimisai, yananda yosoki bihanandati antaso, shisi. Nashihiata, yanundu ana inundu patiki, yanandakiate kiapako kiana, indarato orihik iarayat, ishana sinin tisinin toshitis tayakena, umandu shininkintasna sanaish, saraisna isutu, shinindusni shinintasi. Really, really powerful angelic support. I can see this entire angelic field. Shanaswarais ni shinindisnatasna. Manandoas ni shondas na is na shia isiaya sondoas. Sanando andi ganando shipis sanantiki. Indaro corriato shano sontapasnat. Shana sarakita corrato corrat. Yan unduata kantai shiki sanantaya saya shiarit. You know what I'm seeing? I don't know if you guys have seen this movie, but Dark Phoenix is an X-Men, and spoiler alert, at the end, you know, she kind of merges with this like negative entity that is attracted to her power, right? And at the end, and she's so afraid of being herself, she's so afraid of her power, and it feels that fear and it draws on her from that fear. And at the end, in order to like blast out that power from earth, she has to go up and be exactly who she is, and she's to set herself on fire, right? She sets herself on fire from not like some emulation like thing that we see people do in protest, not like that. She just becomes who she is. She like allows this nova to like occur. And I'm not saying what happened to her, this is not literal, right? But that it's a kind of ego death, right? She loses the persona of Jane, and she just is this phoenix. And she is what she is. She is the ultimate power. That is what we're being called to do. Don't be afraid to set yourself aflame with the sacred fire that you are, as the sun not made of fire. Don't be afraid to let everything that is not you burn. And this is a thing that I've been going through for years on this journey. We call them ego deaths, right? This shifting of identity, of letting go of these identifications with these fearful things like sad music, darkness in aesthetics, glorifying, romanticizing that, right? Who am I if I don't have that part of my personality? You will find out. And I'm not vilifying it, right? It's not about good and bad. It's about if it makes you happy or not. Do you feel good when you identify yourself as a being of sadness? Does that make you feel good? You can entertain it to understand yourself for a certain amount of time, but after a while, you're giving your life away to a demon of sadness. We must see. We must see this. And if you feel called out, then maybe that's because you're doing it and you know that it doesn't feel good and you know that you're limiting yourself. Natashinias nankanato kuntpasnash, nati kantakarantias natiatorak, shnikantasni kintakorayo shunosonuantat, yanandi garayito korkihitik, yanashitiasayishokoratuk, onantakanas nasharakaratuk, onoshonontokosia shiki, yantorkayishoto sondo biharata, ayakorkayas, nantoshanasanandiki. Yanata sayo shabaya koratok, shundos na sondoarayas nihin, indas na shanas na tayasat, yandoarayas sonondoas na sharaitik, snakes in the garden, burning them up, kianasoya shihiandas na sananduriatosh, si sanandas na shoarayo kontaiki, yanasanantik shinin dasni shinin tayo korakok, anandas na shono sono shana saratishni sintiat, nando aratushnis nantriatis. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Beautiful. Coming back into the body, coming back into this present now where you find yourself, feeling yourself anchored in the center of your being in this beautiful sun, knowing that this is the core of your consciousness, this is your power, this is yours to wield for your freedom. And when it is for your freedom in the highest benefit, it is for the freedom of all beings, for all living beings. And you can feel them, and they are all with us now. They are us. Allow yourself to be. This is yourself. Allow yourself to be as you are. Allow yourself to show you who you are, and understand that might not always be a comfortable process as you shed what you are not. But you are supported. And don't cling. Don't cling. Don't cling to the shedding. Don't cling to the old skin. understand that when you ask to be shown, sometimes you'll be shown, and then remember that you've asked so that you don't cling to the events that are crumbling around you as a punishment. You've asked to be shown what isn't you, and you've asked to release it and burn it and understand that that's what's going on. You're not being punished. It's not pointing to something you've done wrong. Beautiful. I think we're going to leave it there. If you feel like you need to, whatever you feel called like you need to do right now, I really recommend that you go and do it. If you need to take a walk outside and stick your face in the sun, if you need to take a shower, sort of splash off, if you want to lie down and remain in meditation, if you need to shake it out, if you want to dance around, if you need to cough, if you need to cry, honor yourself, honor that physical release. We are changing the structure of physical reality. We are changing the structure of physical reality that is happening. And you can feel it happening. So honor that process. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Ask yourself the difference between being nice and being genuinely kind. And I think that that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can send me an email, which is linked, or you can drop me a line on my website, which is just my name, evanebbia.com. That's also where you can book sessions. I think I might do a group session soon, so if you guys are interested, hit me up in the comments. If you have any suggestions or anything you really feel like's coming up that you want to see a video on, let me know. And I think that's it. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for joining me. Always so appreciative. I love to spend time here with you guys. YouTube is just like such a fun collective. So thank you guys so much and have a great day.